Hello soulmates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's tutorial we're going to be learning how to cut and sew this side pleated handkerchief skirt. Please, if this is your first time here, kindly click on the subscribe button and also turn on your notification bell. Alright, so let's get right into it. For this skirt, I'll be needing a lining and also 4 yards of Ankara, okay, depending on how full you want it to be. So now I have gone out to cut out the exact length of my skirt, and I folded it into two as you can see. Okay, now I want to be cutting the back pattern and the front pattern all at once. Again, I folded it into two, making it folding it into four rather. So that part is for the zip allowance. So I went ahead to drop 2 inches because this skirt is going to have a band, and then went ahead to measure the length of my skirt, which is 28, with an additional 1 inch, making it 29. So I went ahead to mark out my waist and mark out my hip measurement as well. That is what you're seeing me do. So feel free to use your measurements. You can go ahead and use your measurements to cut it. Me, I used my measurement to cut mine. Okay, so after that I went ahead to trim out the excess part. Remember to add your sewing your seam allowance also. Okay, so this is what we have now, right? So just watch carefully what I'm about to do. So my nipple to nipple measurement is 7 divided by 2, which is 3.5. So I'm going to be marking that from the front center of my skirt, marking 3.5 inches. That's what you're seeing me mark just right here. Okay, so at the waistline I'm going to be marking where I want the pleat to start. Remember, this skirt has a band, so I dropped 2 inches and then went ahead to mark where I would want the pleat to start from. Okay, for this I used about 5.5 inches. Okay, I used 5.5 inches. That is where I would want the pleating to start from. Okay, and then on my hip line, yes, on my hip line, just right there, I went in from the center front by 5 inches. So now I'm going to be connecting from the down parts down to the hip part. The hip part is going to be a little bit curved. So what I'm doing here right now is trying to connect the hip, trying to connect it to the hip to make it curvy. Okay, so after that you can cut it out. This remaining piece we don't need it. The only thing we need is the length of it, which is 23.5 inches. We would come back to that. So this is what we have now. This is the center front, and then of course the center back. So I went ahead to cut the lining piece for the center front and then the back as well. Okay, the front pattern and the back pattern. I also took it to the machine to sew as well, just as you're seeing me do. So kindly take note of where I'm sewing. I went ahead to sew it all around. The only part I did not sew was the waist region because I would be turning it out there. Okay, so do not sew the waist region. As you can see, that's where I used to turn it out because we want a neat finishing. So at the end of the day, this is what we have. I went ahead to pin down the zip area. Okay, the zipper allowance. Okay, because what I want to do now is to join the front piece and the back piece. So this is what you'll be having after pinning down the back piece. So I'll take my waist measurement and my hip measurement, and then I'll also take it to the machine to sew. So this is what we have right now. Okay, so now we'll be joining the band. This is a band of 2.5 inches. The 0.5 is for seam allowance. Okay, so I went ahead to join the band to the skirt. Now this is what we have, right? I've joined the band to the remaining part of the skirt, and this is what we have. So the next thing I'm going to be doing is to put my zip, okay, to fix my zip. And this is a zip I would be using, so I took it to the machine to sew. Okay, it's going to be having a little bit of slit at the back, just very tiny for ease to work. Okay, so this is what we have at the end of the day. Remember the piece that we cut out while drafting our skirt pattern? Okay, I went ahead to measure it. Remember I said it was 23.5 inches, so you are going to hold that in mind. And where I'm marking now is where I want the pleat to start from. I think I used about 12 or 13 inches there. Okay, you can use 12, you can use 13 inches depending on where you want the pleat to start from. Okay, I went ahead to notch it right there, and also went ahead to notch it at the other side, so just as you're seeing me do. Okay, I used 14 inches, so I went ahead to notch it right there. Okay, what we want to achieve now is to have an idea of how long we want the pleating fabric would be using to be. So what I did here is to measure round from the down part of the front, round down to the down part of the back piece. Okay, just as you're seeing me do here. So whatever we have, we're going to be multiplying it by 2. Now this is dependent on how full you want the pleating at the hip region to be. So for this we have about 48.5 inches. Okay, so now we are going to double the measurement we have there. So now remember that piece that we cut from our skirt pattern, yes, it was 23.5, right? Now this is 24 inches plus half an inch for sewing allowance or seam allowance. So this is what we want to achieve, right? Okay, look at the pleating by the hip area there. This is what we want to achieve, right? So the length of the Ankara would be needing, I told you it's going to be times 2 or even more. For this, I'm trying to measure it for you to see how much fabric I used. Okay, that is 60 plus an additional this is 25 inches. Okay, 60 plus 25 inches, so that is full enough, dependent on how full you want it to be at the hip. So watch carefully what I'm doing. So now we're going to be using the longest part of the Ankara, not the short part, not the height. Okay, the length, the longest part. I hope I'm not confusing. The longest part of the Ankara, the part where we measured about 60 plus I think 20 inches. Yes, so you pick it and then pin it down to the down part of the sketch. Remember the part where we notched earlier, that part is going to be straight. Pleating is not going to be starting from the down part of the skirt. Okay, so you pin it down to the notched part and then take the end of the other side of the Ankara and also pin it to the back side of the skirt down to where we notched earlier. Remember, those parts are not going to be pleated. After doing that, we'll get to, we want to know the midpoint of the remaining fabric or Ankara we have, and also notch it there so that the pleating we'll be doing at the hip area will be even. So I'm going to pick that part and pin it down at the midpoint of the hip of the skirt. Okay, just as I'm doing here, I'm going to be pinning it down. For this skirt, please feel free to add your hard net for it to be full very well. Okay, as for mine, I later on added hard net because it was not full as I wanted. Okay, but I did not record it. I'm so sorry about that. So feel free to add your hard net to make it very full. So I took it to the machine to sew. Remember I told you that the down part is going to be straight, we're not going to be pleating it. From the part I notched is where our pleating will start from, and that is exactly what you're seeing me do here. I've started pleating from the notched part to the other part, to the back part of the notched part as well. Okay, so you're going to pleat and then sew down the remaining part where we notched. Remember that part, we are not going to be pleating that part of the skirt. I really hope you understand what I am doing here. Okay, so at the end of the day, this is what we have. It's giving the handkerchief effect right now. Please do not forget to add your hard net. Okay, do not forget, you can pleat the hard net on top of just the part where you pleated in the skirt. Okay, so do not forget to add your hard net. And at the end of the day, this is what we have. Please, if this was educative for you, kindly hit the subscribe button and also turn on the notification bell. Thank you very much, and bye for now.